Good morning. Actually, I don't even know why I said good morning. It's actually the evening. It's 6 p.m. I'm out here in the Great Smoky Mountains and with my friend Tommy White up ahead here. We've been photographing some absolutely incredible just streams and beautiful water spills, and this area is just absolutely littered with this stuff. So he's taking me to a new area that I've never been to before. Really looking forward to it. Not the ideal conditions right now. There's not a cloud in the sky, but this area is super shaded. So hopefully we'll get some nice even light, nothing too harsh, maybe some little light puddles. All of that would look super, super nice. But either way, I'm excited to see this place for the first time, share it with you as well. So we just arrived at our first stop off here, and man, I was kind of spin around here without trying to fall off this rock. You can see super beautiful, huge rocks, big waves, nice spills, super nice. And the spring growth through here is so lush right now, but the water is actually a little deep. I've never been here, but it looks a little deep to me, and it seems to be moving at a fair clip. We'll see. I'm gonna get out the camera and start doing a little bit of freewheeling around, see if I can find something that excites me. Let me just show you the scene right now. Just these really nice whitewash right here, all right through there. And you got a nice little reflection right there. I'm not sure if you can really see it. I was polarizing it, but it was just removing too much of that reflection, which I didn't quite like. But I really like the way that this is starting to turn out, and the light's starting to get a little bit softer in the background, which is just creating a little bit of light that's kind of pull the viewer's eyes to the scene, which is pretty attractive. And I'm hoping it'll get just a little bit softer as each moment kind of ticks on by. But let me show you the composition I have right now. I got that big rock on the left-hand side there, kind of anchoring the left side, big rocks on the right side. So to me, it's a very balanced composition. And then of course, the beautiful whitewash and a little bit of that nice spring growth in the background, and that light is kind of pulling the viewer's eye throughout the scene. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna experiment with a couple different shutter speeds, because this water is moving at a pretty fair clip. And I want to start experimenting a little bit, and then I'm going to share with you a quick shutter speed tip that has really paid dividends for me over the last couple of years. Let me walk over here, now that I'm off the rock, to a somewhat more quiet of an area. I had recently given a talk all about the power of shutter speed, and one of the things I felt that really resonated with everyone on that attended this talk was the discussion about varying shutter speeds. Because a lot of times when you're on location, it's hard to, when you're in the moment, figure out exactly what the best shutter speed is. And I'm not talking about the best shutter speed to achieve an optimal exposure. That's the easier side of it, I think. But the more difficult aspect of it is trying to determine the shutter speed that shows the movement in whatever's moving, in this scenario, the water, that you really enjoy. And I'm always trying to balance that perfect, how do I show as much movement in the water as I possibly can, but at the same time, still showing as much detail. And a lot of times that's a balancing act. And the only way to really nail that is really with a lot of experimentation and a lot of trial and error, honestly. Headed to the next location, which I have been guaranteed is absolutely mind-blowing, which I'm super excited about, because the last few days here have been pretty mind-blowing in itself. So kind of looking forward to seeing what could possibly top what we've done the last few days. But back to that quick shutter speed thing I was talking about. It takes a lot of experimentation to figure out exactly what shutter speed works better, because the flow of the water is changing constantly, and the flow of everything is always different. So it takes experimentation. What I would recommend doing, what I've been doing, is really embracing that experimentation process and not being so rushed to try and find that perfect one, but just get a huge variety. If you can get 10 different versions, of course, after you lock in on a composition you love, get at least 10 different varying shutter speeds and that are close to each other. I think at that last spot, I think I landed on around 1/8 of a second or 1/6 of a second, started to look pretty good. So I took 5 versions above that, 5 versions below that, all varying different shutter speeds. Then you get back home on a big monitor, you can really do some pixel peeping, figure out exactly which one shows the right amount of detail for you. It did not disappoint. Check out this business here. Let me walk around here. You get this nice kind of C curve right around here. It kind of goes all the way up to there with a beautiful glow in the background. And then you got that spill right there. I hope you can see, yeah, right there. That's anchoring the left side of the composition. And between this C curve on the right side and the fan or the spill on the left side, it just hugs this whole composition together, nice and cozy. It looks so, so good. I didn't want to try and record this on a rock over here. You can see Tommy back there in the background getting his version of it right now. But let me grab my camera and I'll show you the back of the camera and let you see the composition that I came up with. Oh, and you have this awesome kind of overarching tree at the top. I'll show you. Hold on one second. Let me grab this. You can just see how that branch at the top just kind of arches over everything, kind of hugs the top of it. And then you got this line on the right side, you got the spill on the left side, and it all just kind of hugs everything on that boulder right in the center. Whoops, right there, which has got that little bit of light on it, which is just absolutely beautiful. And now we are already moved on to the next location here, which is just, he wasn't lying, these locations keep getting better and better and better. This one's got more of those just overarching trees, you can't even see my hand, over across the top on the left and the right side, and it is just absolutely stunning. Green moss everywhere, the perfect amount of that Smoky Mountain glow in the background. It's absolutely fantastic. Let me turn it all the way around now so you can see it. You can see those trees in the background right there. Just absolutely breathtaking. And this water flow, this might be the best location to just practice different types of shutter speeds, just varying it, just trying to figure out exactly what works best. I'm continuing on with that same exact theme, just tons of different shutter speeds and figuring out that in the zone of what I really like, and you know, every section of this river has different flow, you know, different speed of water, different amount of water, volume of water moving through. So although the shutter speed somewhat remains the same, I'm still experimenting with tons of different ones. So when I get home, I just have so much material to really dig into to figure out exactly which one of them look best. But this location and the last location, absolute just gold. It's beautiful here. So we're at our final spot of the evening, which I can't believe I'm out here trying to record this right now, but this place here is just, I sound like a broken record. Got this beautiful kind of waterfall right there, and look at the water, or the color of that water is just absolutely amazing. And I'm just kind of just over here amidst all of this, just trying to find some interesting wave patterns of this water pouring through here, and just going handheld. I find it insanely easy to just walk around and just kind of scout things out, horizontal, vertical, just trying to figure out exactly what looks best. I know this area, this kind of big empty area in the center here, it's not super interesting other than the color, but I want to kind of get down a little bit lower just so that's not as much of a prominent feature, or not as much of a kind of empty space in the mid frame. So I'm just kind of playing around with that, but going handheld is definitely going to help this situation out. This is just so, so nice. This scene here is absolutely magical. Just doing super long exposures, and what's crazy is this water is so clear, and then when you polarize it, it just, everything underneath it just absolutely comes to life. And I'm actually experimenting with much longer shutter speeds than I normally do. I never do anything close to a second, but I've been doing second long, second and a half, and just the dynamic, just the lines and the striations of the water just pouring into the lens. It's not literally, but it just looks pretty killer. Let me show you a couple examples right here. That right there, in my opinion, looks so, so nice. And I got really low, so that water area right there isn't such a big blank area in the midground, because as I get lower, you can see how that area is diminished a little bit. And the higher you go, you can see it more. And the lower you go, you see it less. So just by playing around with those different perspectives, being able to get something like that, I'm really excited about. Such an amazing evening here. Good stuff here for sure. Back at it again today, exploring a couple different locations in this area. While the light's still a little bit harsh right now, just trying to get some ideas so that when the light does get good, we'll have be able to work a little bit more efficiently, because kind of deep in this area, when the light gets good, you only got, seems like maybe 2 hours, and there's a lot of great locations to hit. So trying to just do a little bit of freewheeling, hand-holding, location scouting, just to try and be ready when the light gets a little bit more shootable. this is the composition I have here. You got this waterfall kind of in the left-hand corner. It kind of swoops around here, and then you got the river coming in on this side, and that beautiful light up top. It's a little bit harsh right now, but a few moments ago, it got really, really soft, and all of that light, and I should say all the leaves in the background just really, really popped and came alive. But I kind of like this kind of horseshoe nature of it all. Not really sure about that little outflow right there. But overall, I'm fairly excited about this composition. I haven't found one today yet that I'm super, super jazzed about, but I'm getting there. I'm really getting there. I'm the type of person that kind of struggles to see the scene when the light is a little harsh, but as soon as that light gets really, really soft and magical, it seems like the composition just really, really comes to life. So I kind of struggle in that department. I almost need the light to get really good before I can identify anything that is super, super exciting, but I'm giving it the old college try. Woohoo, this is what I'm talking about right here. Just the light just got super, super nice. There's clouds in and out, man, it's just like a jolt of energy. Just everything just absolutely comes to life. Just look at this. All that light is kind of glowing right through there, and everything is just coated in all this just beautiful, beautiful light. Let me just come over here and show you the back of the camera here. It all just looks so much more even, and it's beautiful. Absolutely just perfect light right now. Just experimenting with different shutter speeds. I have the shutter speed in mind that I think looks best, but I'm just gonna go ahead and just take a little bit of variety here just to be safe. I got a little bit dark, so I'm just gonna bump the ISO just a touch, hit it again. One more over here. A little bit faster, another little bump to the ISO. I think that's starting to get a good variety, just to make sure I got all of it. That's actually a pretty good point right there. So whenever I am, bouncing shutter speeds around, trying to get as much variety as possible, you get to a point where you speed it up so much that the scene gets overall much, much dark, or much too dark. I always just bump the ISO up in kind of similar increments. So once it gets too dark, maybe bump the ISO a touch, maybe you speed it up even more, bump the ISO a little bit more, just to try and keep that proper exposure just in balance a little bit. This is kind of a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. I didn't even see this small little scene right here until the light started to get really, really soft and nice. And once it got really good, it just kind of jumped out at me, and it's starting to get a little bit harsh right now as I'm talking, but I've already captured this photograph. But I'll turn the camera around here real quick so you can see it. First, you can see my camera here, and it's just this real small little drop right here. You got this beautiful spring growth in the background, very, very nice light. I'll show you the composition on the back of the camera here, and most recent exposure right there. Much longer exposure than I normally do, but I really like that kind of fanning aspect of it right there. But very, very simple scene, nothing too extravagant right here, but I really like the overall kind of minimalistic qualities of this. It's got a very Smoky Mountainous vibe to it, I suppose. So we moved back downstream to a location that we visited last night, which is one of my personal favorites, but the light is actually even better tonight, which is actually super, super hard to believe, because last night I thought the conditions were absolutely incredible. Look at this right here. Let me show you the composition here. Right there, let me show you my most recent photograph. Absolutely, I personally love it. So nice, and the canopy of trees up here, just arching over, is just next level. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous scene. So this will more than likely be one of our last locations of the evening, but man, what a way to wrap things up. That was so good. So good. Just when that light hits off, the trees in the background just absolutely come to life. So I think if there is one thing that I would say is the real point I'm trying to drive home here, and I don't know if I did or not, but I hope I did, but it's I get questions a lot, and I hear it a lot, is what is the best shutter speed? And it's that, but then that question is always phrased the same way, what is the best? And the question is, there is no best shutter speed. And I would just highly recommend that next time you're on location and you're trying to figure out that best shutter speed, just to get the composition dialed in exactly how you like it, and then spend a lot of time just experimenting and get a big variety. And then when you get back home, then figure out which one you think is the best. But try not to do that when you're on location. Back at that last location, I was taking varying shutter speeds between about a half a second and a full second based off of the amount of water, which is a lot back then. That was a high volume and the water was really moving. And I got about, I don't know, maybe 10 different variations. And I have no idea which one is my favorite. But when I get back home, I'll have them all to choose from. So I do hope you're able to get something helpful out of this week's video. And if you did enjoy it, if you could, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And as always, I really do appreciate you. Spending this Smoky Mountain trip with me. It's been an absolutely incredible time here. Been here for 4 days. It's been a great time, and a big thanks to my friend up ahead here, Tommy White, for taking me around. It's been a great time. See you next Wednesday. Bye.